My name is Chris. I'm Assistant Athletic Director for Marketing at Penn State. I'll quickly kind of take you through my background, but then we're really going to jump into how we at Penn State and how I in my past have approached the creative process in developing creative promotions and fan experience opportunities for the fans at the schools I've been at. But I will jump into my background really quickly. That didn't work well. So these were supposed to pop up one at a time, but I'm just going to go through it. So I started as an undergrad at the University of Connecticut. I grew up in New England, in New Hampshire, and I always knew I wanted to work in sports. Didn't really know what the whole college sport deal was about, because when you're from New England, all you really care about is pro sports. But I did choose to go to the University of Connecticut because they just had built a new business school, and I was excited about that opportunity. To tell you how old I am, I chose the UConn Business School because it was the only school that required their students to have laptops. That's like laptops weren't really a thing. So that's how old I am. But when I went there, I finally realized that, hey, this college sport thing is pretty cool. I started out my freshman year as kind of like a super fan. I would camp out the night before all of our big basketball games. I'd go to soccer games, field hockey games, ice hockey games, football games, everything. I was a super fan. I was at all of it. While I was doing that during my freshman year, I realized that, hey, there's interns and people who are working in college athletics marketing that are undergrads here. And, oh, I like sports. Wow, maybe this is a good way to get some experience. So my sophomore year, I started as a marketing intern, just a game day intern. I wasn't, never went into the office or anything, but just was in as a game day intern. And, from my sophomore year on, I've been working in this business. And I guess I kind of realized that this is what I wanted to do when I started going to games as an employee. My sophomore year, I didn't miss, drinking with my buddies before the game in our dorms. I didn't miss the excitement of being a fan because I was just as excited to be there working. So that's kind of when I knew that I wanted to work in this business. When I mentioned drinking, it was drinking beverages like soda and water and stuff. Just want to make sure that's clear. So ever since my sophomore year, like I said, I've been working in college athletics. After I graduated from my undergrad at UConn, I got a year-long internship at the Naval Academy, full-time internship, but that was kind of my first go at being in an office and seeing kind of what goes on beyond just the game day. I worked there for a year and then decided to get my master's and become a marketing assistant at Florida State University. So went down to Tallahassee for 2 years. For me, I call it 2 years of spring break. It was awesome. I had a great time. I had super easy classes, got my master's degree, and worked 50, 60 hours a week in the marketing department. So really kind of, honed in on my skills when I was at Florida State, understood more of, what a marketing plan was, how you, work with a budget, that kind of stuff. Did 2 years at Florida State, got my master's, and then got my first officially full-time position at New Mexico State University. So way out across the country. I was an assistant director of marketing there, and worked there for about 9 months, had an awesome experience. Got to live in a place I never thought I'd live before, never thought I'd be anywhere near New Mexico, but really enjoyed it. And after 9 months, got a phone call from Navy that they had a full-time job open there as an associate director of marketing. So I packed up my Honda Accord and drove 3 days across the country to move back to Annapolis and worked there for 5 years. Worked a lot with the men's and women's basketball programs there. Worked obviously a lot with the football program, and handled our internship program, and actually even sold sponsorships and did a whole lot of stuff there when I was at Navy. So super cool experience being at an academy, working in that environment. Job came open at Georgetown shortly after I started my 5th year at Navy, and was able to secure that job luckily, and became the director of marketing at Georgetown in 2014. And I worked there for 4 years before this job at Penn State came open. So a lot of the examples of what I'm going to show you is stuff that I did at Georgetown. I still do stuff at Penn State. I'm just more of a manager now, so I deal with more of the boring stuff like budget management and personnel management and all that fun stuff. But a lot of the cool promotions and stuff that I'll show you will be from my Georgetown days. But I've been working at Penn State now for 2.5 years and really enjoying it. Contrary to what I just said about doing a lot of boring stuff, I love it here. And being a Northeastern guy, this is for me the pinnacle of athletics departments to work at in this area. So really enjoy myself there. Any questions on my background or my path? I think you'll find as you talk to more and more people in the business, a lot of people's paths are like this. I call this my assistant coaching resume because assistant coaches are bouncing around all over the place. That's what happens in our business too. So this is a pretty typical career path that you'll see in the industry. Good. So before I talk about all of the successes that I've had with different promotions and all of the media attention and national coverage that these things have had, I want to show you that it's not all rainbows and unicorns. You don't succeed unless you're pushing the envelope, and you're not always gonna succeed. And I think failing in our industry with different promotions and theme nights and advertising campaigns is just as important as your successes because of what you can learn. So I've kind of made a name for myself with trying to be super creative and out of the box thinking. But I'm going to show you some of our promotions that I thought were going to do really well that didn't. So the first one was a gender reveal package and a birth announcement package that we wanted to sell to our fans at basketball, where they could pretty much announce the gender of their child in front of the entire crowd, right? So I was trying to take advantage of some excitement that was going on around the country of all these viral gender reveals happening. Well, nobody wanted to do that. We didn't sell any of them. Complete bust. The second thing that I'll mention was we did a Parents Appreciation Day at a lacrosse game. And the thought behind this, as you'll find out as I talk more about our promotions, is like you find like a hook or some like fun thing to build your promotion around, and then you build it out. So the hook for this one was, let's do people's laundry for them, because we've got 7 huge laundry machines in our equipment room. So while fans come and watch a game, let's do their fans' laundry for them, and that could kind of be cool. That could be a viral moment, right? So we built a whole Parents Appreciation Day around our lacrosse game. It was senior day that day, so we were thanking the parents by doing laundry for them, right? We also had an emoji training station, a mom and dad jean donation bin, and we gave out prize packs if you had a flip phone. So we were playing up with the whole parent thing, right? Well, we didn't really think it through, because would you want some random person like doing your laundry? Probably not. So we had 0 people come up and bring us their piles of laundry that whole time. It flopped completely. We didn't sell any extra tickets because of it. And we just kind of looked kind of foolish. Well, to ourselves, we looked foolish. I don't think anyone else really cared. The final one, this one breaks my heart the most. Dumb and Dumber is my favorite movie. So my buddies and I were at brunch one morning, and we were talking about Dumb and Dumber, right? Having those sodas and waters, and decided to come up with a promotion around Dumb and Dumber because we love it. So we came up with the greatest promotion in my opinion. We played off a whole bunch of things that had to do with the movie. What we didn't think through was the fact that our audience was Georgetown students, and most of the students had not seen the movie or care about the movie at all. So we thought we put together this great idea that we would drive a ton of people to our game. Once again, nobody really cared. We didn't know our audience. We picked a game time that was on a Wednesday at 2 p.m. So even if there were some people like my age that would have liked to have gone to the game, it was during the weekday at 2 p.m. so they couldn't have come. So complete bust. So I just say that because I like to say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And it's important to take those shots as long as you're doing it tastefully in the right way that you won't get fired over. But I just like to show those failures before I go on and say all of the great accomplishments that we've had. So any questions on that? Good. Okay. So when we come up with new promotions, we try to either be first, be best, or be different. That's kind of how we build out. That's kind of our philosophy, right? So a couple of examples, our virtual tailgate that we ran in April. Our spring game had just been canceled because of COVID. So we we are the first ones to do a virtual tailgate. And since then it's been copied and improved on since, but we were first. And because of that, we got a ton of attention, a ton of engagement, and a ton of participation on it. We were able to throw a virtual tailgate and had over 7,000 of our fans on Zoom calls, tailgating with each other virtually and interacting with content that we put out. And it was really cool. Being best, that's very self-explanatory. We try to be best at everything we do. An example, this is our football poster that we did 2 years ago. It was the first ever poster that turned into a helmet, right? So this was probably, it won an award for being the best poster of the year. It was something new, it was something different, and it was probably, in my opinion, the best thing we've done with our posters. So the last one is being different. You know, everybody does a Star Wars night, everybody does a Space Jam night, everybody does a Boy Scout and Girl Scout night, right? How can you make it different and stand out? So at Georgetown, our coach was Patrick Ewing, is still Patrick Ewing, and he was in Space Jam, right? So instead of doing a Space Jam night, he was in Space Jam as a Monstar. So we did Monstars night. We put a little spin on it. We had fun with it, and it got a lot of attention. And it was a really fun event for our fans to take part of. So that's kind of how we focus on. Another thing I like to focus on is making things debatable, right? Something that people will talk about at the water cooler at home. And I'll dive into these three specifically here in a minute. But if it's something that can be debated and talked about and people have opinions on, as long as it's not politics or religion or something that's going to get you fired, it's great to kind of come up with something that'll help advertise itself by word of mouth. So those are kind of our four philosophies: first, best, or different, or debatable. When we build out our promotions, we use our Promotions 360 flyer or worksheet here. Cameron, have you guys sent this to them, or have they seen this, or have you seen this before?
I think most of our returning interns have at least seen it, if not completed some for us.
Okay, so you guys know this for the most part, but we don't just do one little thing and call that Boy Scout Day. We just don't give out patches and call that Boy Scout Day, right? Like we make it a full-on experience, and I think that's what helps us be so successful in what we do. So while yes, you find a theme or a hook like I talked about, something that'll drive people in, but then you want to make sure it's an experience that they're going to go home and talk about and want to come back and experience again. So we fill out this Promotions 360 form. Very simple, not rocket science, right? But we just use it to collect all of our ideas when we do our brainstorming. We sit down, like I did at Georgetown, and like we do with the virtual tailgate at Penn State. I sit down with my marketing staff, and we talk it over. We fill out this form every time of how we could be creative and unique and bring this idea to life, right? So we're not half-assing it. We're putting time and effort into it. And building something really fun. So another thing that I would suggest doing right away is bringing in people from other departments to help you brainstorm, right? So if your sport is soccer and you work a lot with the SID or StratCom or whatever you call that person, the communications person, bring them in early to talk through it. It's a lot easier to get approval if people have been involved from the beginning and are with you on that ride, instead of having to bring an idea to them that they've never heard of before and say, hey, I need you to back me up on this, right? So we try to bring people in as early as possible in the process. Any questions on all that? Good. Okay. So I'm going to run through 3 or 4 different promotions and just kind of show you how we were able to do this stuff creatively. One of the big things that I'll talk about here too and try to show you is that, like, at Georgetown, I had 0 budget. I had no money to spend at all on any of these, really. You know, I think the most we spent on some of these are maybe $500 to $1,000. A lot of it was done really cheap, really easy. Amazon was my friend because I ordered a bunch of random crap that I'll show you here. But we were able to as we filled out that spreadsheet, we were able to create a full-on experience. So it just doesn't matter, you know, that you got this awesome giveaway item or this, you know, or this huge discount on concessions or something. It was the full-on experience that you felt. So Hail to Kale was kind of like my first big one at Georgetown. Kale at that time, I think it was 2015, it says, was like this big controversial thing. Like, people were super passionate about hating it or loving it. I think it was like 75% people hated it, 25% people loved it. So we capitalized on that, on those, on kind of that trending topic. So we gave out Kale at a women's basketball game. We worked with our dining hall to donate it. And so we gave out 100 servings of kale salad to the first 100 people that came. We gave away maybe 10 free tickets. Anyone with the letters K, A, L, and E in their name got a free ticket. So it wasn't like we were breaking the bank here. And then we called up a bunch of restaurants around the area that had kale dishes, and there were a lot of them in DC, and we had them donate gift cards and stuff. So once again, as long as sponsorship folks are okay with that, we didn't have to spend any money on it. So we had a fun time. We had a lot of different restaurants donate gift cards to us. We got a ton of media coverage for it. A bunch of the local networks showed up and covered it. The people from Naked Juice sent us like a whole bunch of kale juice to give out to our fans to drink for free. This is in the top left. This is all of us trying it. Not really good if you've ever had that, but it was cool. We also got a call from a kale grower in California that offered to send us a pallet of kale, and I'm like, the joke is we don't really like this stuff. Like, don't send us a pallet of kale, right? So we had a good time. We had a kale eating contest at halftime. That's the picture you'll see in the bottom right. People could choose if they were a team kale or team no kale. We had fun with it. So just goes to show you a simple, really easy promotion that we built out. We were able to get a ton of publicity that we didn't have to pay for, and we were able to have a good time. This next one is an example of a game theme for our student section. We loved to, and we still do love to have simple themes for our student section to get them to dress alike or feel like they're part of the group, right? So we've done America Night, where you dress up with all American flag gear. We did Onesie Wednesday, where everyone wore their onesies to the game. We did a whole bunch of other random stuff. We do Jersey Night, where you can either dress like you're from New Jersey or wear a sports jersey. That was fun. We did that last year. So we had fun with it. We try to, we utilize our student sections to help brainstorm this stuff. And one of them that kind of came from that was what started off as Denim Night, changed to We Are Georgetown after someone said we should call it We Are Georgetown. So this was, we asked our fans to wear as much denim as humanly possible to a game. We had a couple giveaway items that we gave to the people that wore the most denim. The bottom left, we bedazzled a couple denim vests and then some denim fanny packs too. So we bought that stuff on Amazon, just one of each, bought a bedazzler, and made our interns bedazzle these items. And we gave these away as prizes for the students that wore the most denim. And it was great. Like, we had such awesome participation from the students, and it was something that they'd never really done before, and they really kind of gravitated towards it as a student section. So we try to do that on nights that normally wouldn't be a big draw for them. Like, I wouldn't have done that at the Penn State Villanova basketball game, but I probably did it at the Penn State DePaul basketball game. Sorry, not Penn State, Georgetown DePaul basketball game, right? So we try to do something like that where there normally wouldn't be that carrot to get people to come out. So we've had a lot of success with different themed promotions for our student section. Any questions on that? No? Okay, moving along. Cargo shorts retirement party. A lot of people ask me where these ideas come from. This one came because my dad came to visit me in DC and he was still wearing cargo shorts. And I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? Like, you shouldn't wear cargo shorts anymore. And I apologize if anyone here likes cargo shorts. They're fine. But we had some fun with it, right? It was Georgetown. It's like a preppy school, right? They've got this like, oh, Georgetown kids, whatever. So why would you ever want to wear cargo shorts? So we had fun with it. We officially retired cargo shorts at a lacrosse game. And so this was once again, a lacrosse game that probably wasn't going to get a lot of attention for us. And this was something that we really didn't spend much money on at all, but we built it out to a full-on promotion. So it wasn't just it's cargo short retirement party and that's it. We had a donation station for them. We had a depocketing station where you could cut the pockets off of your cargo shorts. We had a prize pack for the person who wore a pair of cargo shorts that had more pockets than anyone else. We bought a cake. I'll show you a picture. We had a cake. Thanks for the memories, but it's time to cargo. So we had a retirement cake for people. We had an intervention station where if you had like someone like your dad that's wearing cargo shorts, you could bring them to the intervention station and we would be there to help talk them off the ledge and make sure that they gave up their cargo shorts. So once again, I think my only expense for this promotion was our the scissors that you see in the cake. And this one got a ton of attention. They talked about it on the Today Show, on ESPN, USA Today wrote about it. Like we were able to bring attention to this random Georgetown lacrosse game that we never would have been able to do. So another big one for us was Millennial Day. We did this at a soccer game. Our soccer coaches were super cool. I should probably mention we run this all by the coaches before we do it. Some coaches might not be. Some coaches might not want to do that kind of stuff. And some might be like, do whatever you want. And some might be like, yes, I want to be involved. At Georgetown, our men's soccer program, they were like, we want to be involved. So we had a great time doing this. This idea started from the idea that we should give out participation trophies at a game. I kind of wanted to make it a youth soccer theme. Where it's like youth soccer theme for older people though. So we gave out participation trophies and we were going to have like circle time on the field after the game and pass around oranges to everybody. That morphed into Millennial Day because we could have done a lot more with Millennial Day than we could have with a youth soccer day. So we did a cable cord cutting station, which was, we just hung a bunch of cables from a fence and had scissors that people could cut them. We did a stadium-wide nap at halftime. We were playing off of all of the fun stereotypes of millennials, right? We did some free admission if you held more than 3 jobs over the last 3 years. We sold tickets for just 1/2 because millennials don't like to commit to anything, so they only had to commit to 1/2 instead of the whole game. So we had a ton of fun with this. ESPN tweeted out to 30 million people. This got a ton of attention. There's a picture of the participation trophies. Those things, we ordered 500 of them. They cost us $500. They were like $1 a piece, super cheap. We had our picture of a nap at halftime. We did a dab-friendly safe space. So something we were able to do for a smaller sport, but got a ton of attention. And then the last one I'll talk about is our actual reality seating section that we did at Georgetown too. I told you a lot of this would be from Georgetown, but the premise of this one was I thought we should take people's phones away from them at a game and make them actually experience a game. Now this is super ironic now because every single thing we're doing now is virtual, but at the time this was kind of like edgy and like really unique. So what we did was we took people's cell phones away from them. But once again, instead of it just being that, we built a whole experience around it. So we made those fans buy paper tickets at the box office. They couldn't buy them in advance. We made them wear "Hello, my name is" name tags, so they had to actually converse with people. We printed out stats for them on a piece of paper and gave that to them at halftime instead of them, because they didn't have their phone, right? And then we had a Polaroid camera for selfies, and we had a letter and postcard writing station. So this is a picture of it. We had 50 seats to sell, and we're able to sell 50 tickets for it. And we had 50 people come in and turn in their phones and fill out name tags, and it was super cool. It's just something that we did for a game that didn't have a lot of juice. We didn't even use the whole arena. We just used one section for it, but we were able to create a buzz for it. So those are the examples that I want to run through really quickly. I know that was a lot of info, but the last thing I'll talk about before I answer questions is, like I mentioned before, start out with your small group, but make sure you bring people in so they're part of the creative process, so they understand what you're doing and feel like they have buy-in. Be open to suggestions and criticisms. A lot of what you see our end product is, the beginning product was nothing like that, because we wanted people with different perspectives coming in and bringing more ideas to the table and working through different things and playing devil's advocate of how things can be construed. A minor league baseball team stole our Millennial night idea 4 months later, and they didn't do it in a fun way that we did, and they got roasted on social media for doing it. Like everyone lost their sense of humor when they saw this team's Millennial night promotion, but we were able to do it tastefully and fun and be obvious that it was us poking fun at the different stereotypes. And that was because we ran this by a lot of people and we made sure it wasn't going to ruffle any feathers. Then my last piece of advice is, you're going to be told no all the time. When you start to do stuff like this in your career, there's going to be a lot of people that think it's not worth it, like it's not going to be fun, it's not going to move the needle. You're going to get told no a lot, but as soon as you get that yes, you want to make sure you do it the right way and show the outcome and show how important it was. So that was a really quick rundown of kind of how we approach our creativity and our innovation and our promotions. Happy to answer any questions for the group. Who wants to ask the first question?
I'll ask the first question.
Good.
I think I asked the first question on a call I had with you like a week ago too, with the FPCA with Joey. I think I asked my first question.
Sorry if you've heard the same spiel a couple times.
Oh no, it's fine. Well, my main question is like your ideas and everything. Like obviously they've been really great because you get really good participation. But I just want to know, like, how do you really get your fans involved? Because I would love to do some of that kind of stuff here at Georgia Southern, but I don't think any of our fans would actually like participate.
So it's a great question. I relied a lot on our student sections and our student fan clubs to get buy-in and participate. If you've got 20 or so people on your side, then from an outsider's perspective, you can make it look like it was the whole student section participated in it, right? As long as you're not there and only see 20 people dressed up. But I try to work with them. We have a fan council here at Penn State of random, not random, but fans from different kind of demographics. And we run a lot of ideas by them, make sure it's cool with them too, because a lot of times we're in our little vacuum, our bubble, and we think everything we're going to do is what the fans want. So I make sure to run it by them. I also run my ideas by people, my friends at other universities too, a lot of times. So I've got a text group of friends all over the country that I'll send ideas to make sure that I'm not missing anything that they think it'll work. Because if something can work anywhere around the country, then it'll probably work where you are. And I also think it's kind of like they need to get used to it. and then they'll get a little more comfortable as they go along. The first time you do something out of the box, it's going to be weird, right? It's going to be new to them. They might not be used to, engaging stuff during the games like that. But I think as you kind of build up a rapport with them and the understanding that that this stuff is coming, that they'll be excited for it and excited to engage with it. So I think it's a good question. Hopefully that answer helped a little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions?
I have a question. When you went to go receive your master's at Florida State, did you have like an emphasis in sports, or was it just marketing that you received your master's in?
Yeah, it was a sport administration master's. I did my undergrad in just general marketing in the business school, so I hadn't had that sport specific education. Now I don't know if you need to have that sport specific education. For me and for, I'm sure a lot of people in this business, it's what really makes a difference is the experience that you have. Unless it's like an MBA or a law degree or something like that, master's to me is a master's degree. It's great. It means you went to school for 2 more years or 1 more year and are competent. But to me, I look for that real life experience. And those skills that I know that we need in this business to be, for someone to be successful. I look for that more than the masters.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would say too, the benefit of the masters too is that a lot of the schools programs have connections and internships and internship requirements and a great alumni network of people in the business. Like that I think is where the real value is in grad school. Can they help you find an internship or put you in the right people, put you in touch with the right people in the business to get you that experience?
I have a question. What helps you like stay creative and keep getting like fresh ideas out to the audience?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So I'm on social media a lot, looking around at things that are going on around the country. I think a lot of the success in this business comes from ideas that were taken from other people and adjusted or slightly different. Like I mentioned before, like we did our virtual tailgate, right? And then Texas took what we did and like made it 30 times better and blew it out of the water, right? So a lot of inspiration comes from kind of within the industry. I use Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram and all of social media to follow people who are kind of thought leaders and creative marketers from all different industries, not just sports. And so you're always trying to look at things from that perspective. Also just looking at stuff in your everyday life and thinking of how you can have some fun with it. A lot of it just kind of, like I said, I saw my dad wearing cargo shorts and that turned into a promotion that ended up on the Today Show. So we get inspiration from all over for sure.
Hey, Chris.
Hello.
Yeah, I got one real fast. Hey, Chris. By the way, Dumb and Dumber is a great movie. I don't care what anyone says. But I know many of our students in this group, want to pursue careers in athletics, careers in marketing, athletic. What kind of advice would you provide them to say, hey, push for this career if that's what you want to do?
Yeah, and some of you, if you've heard me talk about this before, it's going to sound repetitive, but I think you're doing a good step right now, right? You're getting that experience. You're on these calls. You're learning. You're at events. What I preach to people is being flexible in their job search. So flexible in where you want to live, flexible in the type of organization you want to work in or work for, flexible in what your responsibilities are, and flexible in what you're getting paid. So the last one is tough. I know the paying stuff is tough because everyone has different they're in a different position with their money, different circumstances. But flexibility in where you live is super important. This industry is very, very, very competitive. I'm sure you've heard that from everybody. But there are great opportunities all over the country, and even outside the country. For me, it took me going to New Mexico for me to get my first full-time job. Never thought I'd live there. But if I said I only want to work and live in Washington, D.C., but I want to work in sports, I'm putting myself at a pretty big disadvantage right there, because there's only so many opportunities, and those are going to be really highly sought after and really competitive, right? So there are great opportunities all over the country. So I say be flexible in where you want to go. In this industry, you end up moving all over the country, and you know, there's no better time to do that when you're young, right out of school, right? So take those risks. Go out to different places you never thought you'd be, because you'll learn skills at those places that are important to your growth. Along those same lines, flexible in what your job actually is, right? Say you want to work in marketing, but the job description of this thing you're interested in, you know, has some corporate sales involved, or some cold calling for ticket sales, or operations, or whatever. All that stuff is going to make you a better overall employee. So you know what you want to focus on, and if you've got marketing responsibilities in that job, look at those other responsibilities as opportunities to grow and make yourself more marketable in the future. Because yeah, in this business, we're focusing on marketing, but every day I'm working directly with our ticket office and our compliance office and our operations department and our creative services department, our graphic designers, all those things, and I need to have an understanding of what they do day to day. And so, you know, expanding your responsibilities is important. Flexible in the type of organization you're working for, right? People say, I hear a lot, I want to work in the Power Five, I want to work in the Big Ten. Well, if you only say you want to work in the Big Ten, you're missing out on a ton of opportunities, right? And a lot of people say, I want to work in the Big Ten. You saw my background. I was all over the country, big schools, small schools, public, private, military academy. I was at a school at Georgetown that had a football stadium of 1,500 fans, right? And then I went to I got a job at Penn State with 107,000 fans, right? So as long as you do a good job of where you are, the organization that you work for doesn't matter as much, as long as you kick butt when you're there and you learn a lot and you make good connections. And then the last one is what you get paid. You're not going to make a lot of money in this business right off the bat. That's not news to any of you. I hope it's not news to any of you. Sorry if that is news, Cameron, and you lose some interns because of that. But you know, my first job in marketing at Navy, I made $12,000 a year. My first full-time job in New Mexico State, I made $26,000 a year, right? Like, it's not what our parents are used to when they go out in the business, when they graduated, or their first job, you know, out of college. Like my dad didn't understand, like, why would you go and work for that? It doesn't make any sense. But if you're able to be flexible with what you get paid, it's important to build your experience. So look at part-time opportunities or volunteer opportunities or internships. Like, you might not get that full-time job right off the bat, but it's important to continue to build your experience. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer to the question, but I appreciate it. Other questions? We good? Cameron, good? Touch upon everything you needed me to?
Yeah, that was great. Thanks for being able to jump on our call with us and sharing great advice. I mean, I know that it was valuable to me, and so I hope it was valuable to the rest of our team. I think we all learned a little bit of something there. So thank you for jumping on.
Yeah, and I'm hosting a Zoom call tomorrow night and Wednesday. I don't know if you pass this along to them or not, but we're hosting a Zoom call about interviewing in the sports industry. And if you guys are interested, just shoot me a DM on Twitter, or Cameron can give you my email. But if you want to attend, it's going to be tomorrow night at 8. And we've got some panelists from kind of all over the country in different areas of sport, talking about like tips and tricks for job interviews. So we've done a couple things like that. We've done one on grad school. We've done one on resume building. We've done one on professional development. And so I can share those links with you guys if you're interested in listening. So cool. All right. Thanks
Awesome.
for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.